everybody, and welcome back to another Pokemon Challenge video. Last time, I tried to beat the brand new installments in the Pokemon lineup. The remake of the Red and Blue Rescue Team games from long ago. Rescue Team DX, without ever fighting. It was a lot of work to get that video out so soon after the game was released, but I had a ton of fun making it, and I know you guys will enjoy watching it if you haven't done so already, so I highly recommend checking it out once you're done watching this video. This week, we're going to be doing another unique challenge, which of course means we're headed to a spin-off game in one of the most unique games ever introduced in the Pokemon franchise. One of the GameCube spin-offs. Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness. As some of you may know, the Pokemon GameCube spin-off games, being XD and Colosseum, are Pokemon games in which you catch shadow Pokemon and set out to purify them, opening their heart and returning them to normal. So of course, I've always wondered, could you beat Pokemon XD only using shadow Pokemon in battle? If you end up enjoying this video at any point, it would really mean the world to me if you click the like button down below. It helps the channel out a ton, and if you haven't done so already, don't forget to subscribe as well, and ring that bell to be notified of all future uploads for this channel. I upload a challenge video just like this every single week on Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and sometimes other days too. So, with that being said, could I beat Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness only using shadow Pokemon in battle without any items in battle? Let's jump right in and find out! The main goal of Pokemon XD is to snag shadow Pokemon from trainers and purify them, opening their heart and returning them to normal. This is done by battling with them, giving them massages, walking around, or a few other methods. In Pokemon XD, there are 83 shadow Pokemon in total, and these are pretty much the only Pokemon available to you in the game, aside from your starter Eevee and a small handful of Pokemon that can be captured at places called Pokespots. So you might be wondering, how exactly does this differ from any other XD playthrough then? Well, we won't be purifying our shadow Pokemon, as they would no longer be a shadow Pokemon after that, now would they? For those of you that aren't quite sure of the differences of shadow Pokemon and normal Pokemon, here are a few of the main things that shadow Pokemon cannot do. For starters, and this is the big one, they can never be leveled up, meaning they can't ever get stronger. This includes rare candies and vitamins, and they don't even gain effort values from fighting. They can't be nicknamed, evolve, and they cannot learn any new moves. This includes TMs and move tutors. Every shadow Pokemon comes with a certain number of shadow moves. These can't be forgotten and come in a variety of types, such as status, physical, special, and so on. In Pokemon XD, shadow moves are super effective against every type, but not very effective against other shadow Pokemon. But shadow moves aren't the only moves we'll have at our disposal. Almost every shadow Pokemon has 2 moves and then 2 regular moves that become unlocked as their heart begins to open. These regular moves cannot be forgotten either, and that's all they'll have until they're purified. So with our Pokemon never being able to get stronger or learn any new moves, this challenge essentially relies on the shadow Pokemon that are available being able to hold their own until the next stronger shadow Pokemon comes along for us to snag. Alright, with all that out of the way, let's go over the rules for this challenge. Of course, I'm not allowed to use any items in battle, and as always, held items and any kind of Pokeball are fair game. I'm only allowed to use shadow Pokemon in battle. If I purify a shadow Pokemon, it is no longer able to be used. And this challenge will begin the moment I snag my first shadow Pokemon. I will immediately put my starter Eevee in the PC, and then the run will really begin. This is definitely a more unique and different kind of challenge, so I genuinely don't know what to expect here. Going into this, I figure it'll probably be pretty straightforward, actually. I'm sure most of the shadow Pokemon you get are right around the level of what lies ahead in that area, making this not very difficult. But we'll see. Comment down below and let me know if you think this challenge is possible. And if not, where do you think we're gonna get stuck? Let's jump into this challenge and see if I can beat Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, only using shadow Pokemon, without any items in battle. I start my adventure as a young boy named Shadow, After finding my sister Jovi and escorting her back to the lab, I'm equipped with the Shadow Monitor and Snag Machine, which will allow us to identify and snag Shadow Pokemon from other trainers. And right on cue, the lab is being attacked, and Professor Crane is being kidnapped. In our attempt to stop them, we run into our very first Shadow Pokemon, a Teddiursa, which I snag and add it to the team, replacing our starter Eevee. We head over to Gatian Port to get a machine part for the Purify chamber the lab is building. We won't be needing that though, will we? Not knowing what sort of roadblocks could be in store for us, I set a goal of snagging every Shadow Pokemon. So even if I don't point them all out, just keep in mind I'm adding them all to our arsenal. On that note, Teddiursa's getting quite lonely, so I explore the rest of Gatian Port and snag a Shadow Ledyba and Poochyena, and then head over to Agate. The Relic Stone in Agate is where you naturally can purify your Shadow Pokemon. And unfortunately, Egan won't let us leave the area until we've purified at least one of our 3 Pokemon. So we have to say goodbye to one of them. I choose Ledyba, as I think of the 3 of them, it will be the least useful moving forward. Bye-bye, Ledyba. Now we head over to a mystery facility in search of Professor Crane, and we're met with the Hexagon Brothers, the Ore region's knockoff Power Rangers. Laugh all you want, they each have a Shadow Pokemon. So we snag Houndour, Baltoy, Mareep, Seedot, Spheal, and Gulpin, and then head inside the Cipher lab. After snagging a bunch of Shadow Pokemon from the Cipher peons without any difficulty at all, we find the Professor, and upon making our escape, we're attacked by Cipher admin Lavrina. She leads with a Beautifly and Luvdisc, level 19 and 20 respectively, and I lead with my Houndour and Mareep, who are both level 17, so we're in fairly good shape for this fight. Our team manages to take Beautifly and Luvdisc out, and her final 2 Pokemon are Roselia and a Shadow Delcatty. One great thing about this run is boss Shadow Pokemon are supposed to be really strong, as they're super effective against regular Pokemon. But in this challenge, they can't really do much to me, as Shadow resists Shadow. I snag Delcatty up real fast and finish Lavrina off, bringing the Professor home safely. Crane tasks us with delivering a data ROM to ONBS, a local TV network located in Pyrite Town. We hand it over to Net and then make our way to check out the Pokespots. While we're not allowed to use any of the Pokemon we find here, we can run into one of the best Pokemon characters of all time, and his awesome hair. It's Mirby. Let's dance! And while we were dancing, ONBS was being raided by Cipher. Luckily, none of them were much of an issue, until we reached the top, that is, and had to fight against CMDR Exol. His Loudred and Girafarig are really strong, and just straight up overpowered us quickly. But, to my surprise, his Shadow Mawile fled the scene, even after losing the fight. Because apparently, you don't have to win that battle. I've been discovering things like that quite a bit lately doing challenge runs. It's not normally a battle you'd lose. Oh well, we'll get the Mawile back another time, and it'll give us another reason to dance. We're then sent to Fenax City, but something isn't right here. The whole town has been taken over by Cipher, but since we don't level up, there's no point in fighting any of them if we don't have to. So after battling the required ones, we come face to face with a very important Shadow Pokemon in the pre-gym, Cipher Peon Phasen's Shadow Roselia. But for now, it's time to head to the stadium and stop the next Cipher admin, Snattle. But first, we've got his lackey, Eggrog. Yeah, listen, if you didn't know, XD and Colosseum have some really weird names. Maybe his parents really like eggnog. Either way, we managed to beat him and snag his Shadow Seal, and get thrown into the fight with Snattle right away. Snapple and Eggnog. Yeah, that's... Well, this guy's no joke. He leads with pure power at this point in the game, in a Quagsire and Lantern, while I'm using a Delcatty and a Natu, who are massively underleveled. He ends us immediately. I realize we're gonna need a plan. First of all, I need all the help I can get, so I track down Mirby, and he just so happens to have the Shadow Mawile that I missed out on. It's level 22, so that's one of the strongest options at this point. I do a bit of team building and come up with several different combinations to try over the course of the next few hours. His team consists of Quagsire, Lantern, Metang, Castform, and a Shadow Lunatone. That Lunatone is by far the strongest Shadow Pokemon at this point, so I really need to get my hands on it. I lead with my Shadow Roselia and Meowth. Unfortunately, Roselia doesn't have any damaging grass moves for Quagsire or Lantern, but Roselia does have Leech Seed and Grass Whistle. Lantern's Shockwave brings Meowth to red immediately, but luckily Quagsire missed the use of Slam, while Roselia seeds Quagsire. Roselia then puts Quagsire to sleep with Grass Whistle, and Meowth continues to chip away at Lantern. I take this time to switch Roselia out for Mawile. I want to save Roselia for later. She's really valuable. Meowth has done over half of Lantern's health at this point, and Quagsire is still asleep. The Leech Seed heals Mawile the damage he took on the switch-in, and together, they manage to take Lantern down. And next comes out is Shadow Lunatone, which is really good for us. It's not capable of doing much damage to us, and Quagsire is still asleep. I try to snag Lunatone immediately, but of course I don't get it on the first try. Shadow Wave takes Meowth out, and then I send in Pineco this time. I didn't want to send Roselia in case Quagsire were to wake up, which it unbelievably is still asleep. See, in Generation 3, double battle mechanics are horrendous. If Quagsire woke up there, its attack would have hit Pineco coming in, which could be run-ending. Lunatone puts up a Shadow Sky. This damages non-Shadow Pokemon every turn, which isn't an issue for us, but it does interact with one of his Pokemon in a devastating way. We managed to catch Lunatone, and then meet that Pokemon. Its cast form. See, its move Weather Ball in a Shadow Sky environment does question mark damage, and has its power boosted to 100. It does over half to Mawile, and Quagsire takes Pineco out. Shadow Sky finishes off Quagsire, and then his Metang comes out. And with 4 of our Pokemon still remaining, we managed to make it past Snattle after several hours, adding a super strong Shadow Lunatone to our roster. With Fenac City saved, we head out to the desert and find the crashed SS Libra. Upon exploring the inside, we come across Cipher admin Gorgon and his 2 peons, Snattle and Smarten. After taking Smarten down, we leave the ship and get ambushed by Wacken from Team Snagum. He knocks us out with his Gloom and steals our snag machine. Until we get it back, we won't be able to snag any more Pokemon. Which is a real shame too, since next we run into a brute named Zook, who has a Shadow Zangoose. It's really strong and would have been an incredible addition, but it's impossible to snag at this point. And on top of that, he wipes us out. But luckily, just like previously, this fight wasn't required, so we leave and continue as normal. We head over to the outskirt stand, and look who it is. It's Mirror B once again. He has a new Shadow Pokemon for us in Nosepass, but just like with Zangoose, we can't catch it right now. But what we can get is a Shadow Togepi from a man named Hordle inside. It may just be a baby Pokemon, but it gets access to the move Helping Hand, which could be really useful. Time to infiltrate the Snagum hideout and get our snag machine back. To gain access to Snagum Head Gonzap's room, we have to fight Gonzap's lackeys, Biden and Wacken, the guy who stole our snag machine. Even Biden, the weakest of the 3, is no laughing matter. He has an Oddish, Crobat, Blossom, and Torkoal, all greatly higher leveled than my Pokemon. We managed to beat him on our first try, however, and next up is Wacken. He doesn't have our snag machine anymore though. That went straight to his boss, but his arm is way too big for it, rendering it useless for him. Weird flex, but okay. To get it back, we need to defeat Wacken, and then Gonzap. Wacken has 5 Pokemon, ranging from level 28 to 32, with our strongest Pokemon only being level 25, our Lunatone and Togepi. For the next 5 hours, I fight Wacken over and over and over with no headway. I could not get past his lead of Double Gloom. I tried everything! Spearow, Helping Hand, Aerial Ace with the sharp beak does just over half. One uses Giga Drain, and the other uses Sleep Powder. I needed a ton of critical hits, Sleep Powder misses, and them to target the right Pokemon to stand any bit of chance. And even if I managed to beat a Gloom, next would be his Mantine, which wrecks everything with Bubble Beam. And not only that, my strongest Pokemon in Lunatone is weak to both of his Gloom, his Mantine, and his Forretress, since it has Pin Missile, which, believe it or not, is enough to one-shot Lunatone with enough hits. I managed to make it to his final Pokemon, a Grumpig. This Grumpig likes to use Shockwave, but also has Light Screen and Taunt. I figured this fight would be possible, but I knew no matter what, if I was struggling this much against Wacken, how on earth would I ever be able to beat Gonzap? But I decided, one step at a time. I devised a plan that made my chances of beating Wacken a little bit higher. The key was our Houndour, who, mind you, is level 17. The biggest asset in this fight is our Lunatone, but I can't lead with it since Gloom would just end it quick, and so would Forretress down the line. I needed to get rid of his Forretress first, but how would that be possible? He sends his Pokemon out in the same order no matter what. Gloom and Gloom, then Mantine, Forretress, and Grumpig. Except there is a way I can manipulate this. One of Houndour's 2 regular moves is Roar. This move will always go last, but it will swap one of the targeted Pokemon with a random Pokemon from his party. This would have to pick Forretress for it to work, and our Roselia needed to be accurate with Grass Whistle, or this mission was a bust. Thankfully, after a few tries, Forretress gets dragged out, but our Roselia misses with Grass Whistle. Our level 17 Houndour is faster than Wacken's level 31 Forretress, and manages to do a bit less than half with Ember, and it goes underground with Dig. I take this opportunity to make a risk. I assume Dig is going to target Houndour, so I switch for Spearow being immune to it, as Grass Whistle puts Gloom to sleep. Dig doesn't affect Spearow, meaning I made the right play, and now our Sharp Beak Spearow can Aerial Ace Gloom, and Roselia lands a Grass Whistle once again, putting Forretress to bed. Both of them are out cold, so with Spearow being faster than Roselia, I take advantage of the double battle mechanics. Spearow takes Gloom out, and his second Gloom comes back in, directly into another Grass Whistle. Forretress remains asleep, and the next Gloom is freshly to bed. Roselia Leech Seeds Forretress as it wakes up and body slams Spearow dead. But Spearow has done more than enough. Houndour comes back out, and with the help from Roselia's Shadow Wave, brings Gloom to red. Roselia gets knocked out by Forretress's body slam, and now is the time for our Lunatone to shine, as Gloom thankfully stays asleep. Lunatone's strongest asset is the move Shadow Wave. It hits both opponents, always being super effective, and uses Lunatone's good special attack. It takes both Gloom and Forretress out. Houndour gets taken out by Hyper Mode's recoil, and now it's time to do or die. Mantine needs to get taken out, and fast! I send Togepi in to boost Lunatone's Rock Tomb with Helping Hand. While holding the Hard Stone, it does over half to Mantine. Luckily, Grumpig uses Taunt on Togepi, and Mantine uses Supersonic instead of Bubble Beam, and they're both targeting Togepi. This, finally, after an entire real-life day of fighting Wacken, allows for Lunatone to finish Mantine off, and with the help from Mawile, finish Grumpig and Wacken off once and for all. Wow, that battle was insanely difficult, and it was just Wacken. And then immediately after, we get thrown into the battle with Snagum's head, Gonzap. His team is even more devastating. He leads with an Electrode and a Nuzleaf, and his entire team is level 30 and above. He has an Electrode, Nuzleaf, Vileplume, Whiscash, and Skarmory, ranging from level 30 to 32. My best team I can put together has not changed, and it won't change until we can beat him. I have 30 Shadow Pokemon at this point, and nothing even comes close to being able to defeat Gonzap. I kid you not. I'm so determined to do this that I tried this fight on and off for literal, real-life days. Every strategy I could possibly think of, every Pokemon I could possibly try, nothing seemed to be reasonable. His Electrode will always outspeed everything I have, no matter what, and can and will one-shot almost everything with Spark. And to make this even worse, his other lead, Nuzleaf, will always use Fake Out. So almost every attempt, I will lose a Pokemon immediately And I'm already incredibly disadvantaged. I even researched every item available to me, even discovering a piece of Pokemon XD I didn't know about, the Battle Bingo. I played f***ing bingo for almost an entire real-life day just to secure enough Poke Coupons to buy items that I knew wouldn't make a difference. I wanted to try everything. I bought a bright powder, hoping to use it with my Grimer and minimize. But even then, the luck required would be absurd and inhuman. And on top of that, his Nuzleaf has Feint Attack, and his Skarmory has Aerial Ace, both of which never miss. I bought a Choice Band, and even with that, I couldn't one-shot anything, even with the help of Helping Hand. And to top all of this off, all except his Electrode have the move Hyper Beam. This is essentially a one-click nuke that will end any Pokemon I have. Even from his vile plume, Hyper Beam is enough to one-shot my Mawile and Lunatone, who both resist it. Do I think Gonzap is possible with only Shadow Pokemon? I think in some wicked realm with what you have available to you at this point, I think it might be, but the luck required is so obscene and inhuman, I don't think anybody will ever do it. It comes down to pure hacks and luck, with the use of items like the Bright Powder, King's Rock, Quick Claw, and probably entirely relies on the move Grass Whistle, which has an accuracy of 55%. After actual real-life days of trying, I reluctantly have decided that the Shadow Pokemon only run with no items is not humanly possible, and the run has officially ended at Snagum Head Gonzap. This isn't a fake out like I've done before. I'm being 100% genuine, and I'm really sorry, guys, but I genuinely just was not able to do this. But please, if any of you come up with something that sounds genuinely reasonable or possible that I haven't tried, and believe me, I've tried everything, I will gladly make a follow-up video to this. Let's call it the Gonzap Project. For now, you guys know me. I'm not going to let it go there. While this challenge is a loss and not possible with no items, I still would like to see how much of the game is possible with no items. So I used items to defeat Gonzap, which, mind you, was still insanely difficult, and I barely made it. And then I continued on as normal. Maybe Gonzap's the only battle that I can't overcome, which would be pretty fitting as he is the one who has our snag machine. It's a fitting end to the story if you were to look at it that way. With our snag machine back on our arm, we head back to the Cipher Key Lair and snag Zook's Zangoose finally. With the Choice Band I secured from all of the Gonzap struggles, this Zangoose is going to be a well-needed upgrade. And the upgrades don't stop there. We snag a bunch of new Shadow Pokemon and add a Shadow Beedrill, Butterfree, Pidgeotto, and Magneton to the team. Beedrill gets Twin Needle and Swords Dance, while Magneton gets Thunder, and Butterfree is an incredible step up from our Grass Whistling Roselia with the move Sleep Powder and the ability Compound Eyes. With the Cipher Key Lair cleared out, it's time for the next Cipher admin. Remember Gorgon? It's time to fight him. He leads with a Lairon and Celio, who utilize the strategy of Protect and Earthquake. But luckily for me, we have a Thunder using Magneton, who drops Celio on its head in one shot. Butterfree uses the amazingly accurate Sleep Powder, which, mind you, never missed once the entire playthrough, and puts Lairon to sleep, and Thunder brings his Slowking down to red. Water Pulse does a bit over half to Butterfree, and a Shadow Rave from Magneton, which is a stronger Shadow Wave, finishes Slowking off. Next up is his last non-Shadow Pokemon, an Ursa Ring. Butterfree continues to spray sleep powder all over the place, and before too long, Lairon goes down as Gorgon's first shadow Pokemon, a Primeape, comes in. Ursaring eventually goes down, and we snag Primeape and his final shadow Pokemon, a Hypno. With Gorgon finished, it's time to head to Citadark Island, the final area of the game, and it's a massive one. We run into Lavrina again. Remember her? We snagged her Delcatty at the start of the adventure, and this time we snag her Farfetch'd and Altaria. Making our way through the island, we add a ton of new shadow Pokemon to our collection. We add a Bayonet, Kangaskhan, Dodrio, Cipher, and Rapidash to the team, keeping Butterfree because of sleep powder. At the top of the island, we run into another familiar face, being Snattle. He gave us our first major roadblock, but we got an awesome Lunatone out of it. This time, we get a Solrock and a Starmie. Next, we've got to fight Ardos, one of Greevil's bodyguards. He has 3 shadow Pokemon, which makes this fight relatively easy. We take out his Alakazam, Kingdra, and Heracross, and snag his Swellow, Electabuzz, and Snorlax. Running into the last rematch with Gorgon. He still uses the Earthquake strategy, but doesn't put up much of a fight, as I take his Mr. Mime and Poliwrath. And the last notable battle before Greevil is his other bodyguard, Eldis. He has 4 shadow Pokemon, a Manectric, Marowak, Lapras, and Salamence. The strongest shadow Pokemon I can get by far at this point. And surprisingly, I managed to catch it on the first ball. He puts up a bit of a fight afterwards, but we managed to beat his Ninjask and Flygon and catch all 4 of the shadow Pokemon. At this point, I have every shadow Pokemon available, including the Nosepass we weren't able to catch long ago. There's only one thing left, the final fight with Greevil. First, he reveals his secret weapon, a Shadow Lugia, codenamed XD001. It's level 50 and the strongest shadow Pokemon in the game. We do have a Master Ball, but it's much more useful later on. I go into this fight with only 5 Pokemon. That way, Lugia will be added to my party for the final fight. It takes a good hour, but we managed to snag Lugia in an Ultra Ball and come face to face with Greevil and his team of 6 shadow Pokemon. We don't get healed up after the Lugia battle, so we need to get some good snagging luck here. But that's why I saved my Master Ball. We only need luck for 5 Pokemon this way. He leads with Rhydon and Moltres. Yeah, he uses the 3 legendary birds on his team. I'm definitely using the Master Ball here. I put Moltres to bed and managed to snag it at full health as his Shadow Exeggutor comes out. I then snag Rhydon, Exeggutor, and his Tauros, leaving only his Articuno and Zapdos. With Zapdos being more threatening, I use my Master Ball on it, leaving only Articuno left. Weakening it with Rapidash's Flamethrower and burning it, we snag Articuno, defeating Greevil once and for all, and beating Pokemon XD, only using Shadow Pokemon in battle, and managing to snag every single one in the main adventure. And even though we could not defeat Gonzap, we still continued on, and we have won this game! Man, I absolutely love Pokemon XD and Colosseum. These spin-off games are amazing, and they just don't get a lot of love here on YouTube these days. So if you guys did enjoy it, it'd mean the world to me if you clicked like and let me know down below in the form of comments. I know doing a spin-off game, the video is already going to perform pretty much worse than the normal videos that I do. But I do want to go ahead and make videos on things I'm interested in rather than what I think would be the best performance-wise on the channel. So hearing from you guys that did enjoy it really goes a long way. It is unfortunate that I wasn't able to successfully complete this challenge without any items in battle, getting stuck at Gonzap like we did. But you know what? If I'm gonna get stuck on a challenge run, I'm glad it was a unique one like this. Unexpected challenges will arise all the time, and this is definitely one that I had not seen coming. So who knows? Maybe we'll revisit this at some point if somebody ends up coming up with something that'll work to beat Gonzap. I guess we could call it the Gonzap Project, the Gonzap Problem. Hopefully, one day it'll be solved. For now, I really do hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to tell me down below, like the video, and if you haven't done so already, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and ring that bell to be notified of all future challenge videos uploaded here on the channel. Like I said at the start, I upload one every single week on Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and sometimes other days too. If you want to see another Pokemon challenge video, I did a Helioptile solo run and then Heliolisk solo run in Pokemon Y. If you're interested in that, you can find a link to that video over here. Or if that one doesn't interest you right now and you want to see what other challenge videos I have in store for you, there's a link to the playlist of all of them that I've done so far over here. Anyways, guys, with all of that out of the way, I really do hope you enjoyed, and I hope I'll get to see you guys next time. Until then, I'll see you guys then. Thank you so much for watching!